I'm here with Abhishek Pardeshi, who is a Principal IT Auditor for M&G Prudential.
Hi, Clara. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. You too. So one of the things that I know you're quite passionate about at the moment is API security. So Can you explain to everybody why APIs are such a concern?
Thank you for having me here. In terms of, if you look at APIs, currently everything is software driven, right? From the applications that you use in your organization, the customers that you have, the customers are also using the applications. Even the partners that you have, they're using the application, and the glue that is holding them together are the APIs. So if the glue that is holding them together fails, or if there is a security failure with the APIs, the whole organization fails, your business fails. So I think it's quite critical to think about API, its governance and security. And if you look at last year, especially when what happened with Facebook, so there was this 50 million breach of personal information, and that happened due to there was lack of security built in the Facebook API. Also, when you look at India, so there was this huge breach which was in the news for, so there was a breach of around 1.1 billion records, and again that was due to lack of security built in the APIs and lack of governance that happened. So also there has been a lot of things that have, the world has moved on in terms of the digital transformation, and APIs are playing a big role in this phase. Apart from that, if you look at the various research that has been done, so there's a recent research which came from Gartner, and which said that by 2022, API will be the major attack vector when it comes to data breaches. So I think API is a big thing which currently is not being looked after, and we need to think about it from a security and governance perspective.
Well, I think talking about Facebook, it makes it easy for everybody to understand then why this actually should be a concern. So what should API governance include?
I think from a governance perspective, first of all, an organization should have a view of what APIs they are currently using. So a portfolio, so a centralized repository where you can see what APIs you have currently. The second thing, that an organization should have a governance framework. So what exactly needs to be there is a framework which will help you govern these API right from the design phase to the disposal phase. So which includes how these API should be defined, how they should be coded, how they should be managed, monitored, and disposed of finally. Apart from that, I think because these APIs have been developed internally or externally, you need to have this secure coding guideline for the developers, which will help you define consistent APIs with consistent security parameters across the organization. Yeah, I think these are the main factors. And apart from that, of course, you should have monitoring. So what APIs are being used across your organization, who is using them, and for what it is being used. I think these are the things which you should have as part of your governance for these APIs.
And do you think most organizations have a handle on that? Do you think they know what they have and who's using it?
To be very, if I'm point blank, I meet people across the organization through various forums like ISACA, and what I see is, what I hear from my peers is, currently the organization lack those things. Although, so the first thing is they don't have a view of what APIs they are using exactly. So if that itself is lacking, I don't think so we are doing enough to govern those. Yeah.
And do you think organizations are doing enough in general on API security?
So especially with digital transformation coming up, so currently I think there's not much the organizations are doing. I've seen this, I've interacted with my peers as well, and that's the feel across the industry, especially when it comes to financial sectors, because there is a lot of dependency on SaaS applications, which are vendor driven, and the data flow that happens between the SaaS applications and our internal IT systems is through APIs. And I think there needs to be work done in terms of securing these APIs, and that currently is lacking.
And if somebody is watching and they're working within security, how can they go and learn more about API security?
I think there is a lot of material available, especially you can refer the SANS. Yeah, it's so to start up with, you can start up with API programmable APIs. So where it's a forum where you can learn what exactly an API is. You can even just do a YouTube search and you'll have list of videos talking about it, what exactly API is, what are the security parameters related to APIs, what governance needs to be in place for APIs. So I think YouTube would be the first thing that I would refer people to go to.
Okay. And if we're looking forward to the coming 12 months and beyond, what do you think we're going to see as trends around this?
Yeah, I think what you will say is a lot of organization will be affected if they don't consider the governance of APIs and security. You'll see a lot of breaches that will happen related to API. You've already seen some data being exposed, data breaches happened. But when it comes to the next phase of API security and governance, what you'll see is they will move away from the traditional controls that they have in place. So these are most related to the quotas, the rate limiting and things like that. It will move on to most of the analytics, the user behavior and things like that. So it would not be just limited to those authentication, authorization checks that they have currently. It would move beyond that, which would be more analytic driven, user behavior driven, application behavior driven. So yeah, I think that would be the next phase.
Brilliant. Well, I think that's going to have taught a lot of people quite a bit about API security. So thank you for coming and doing the talk.
Thank you. Thank you so much.